Good evening, everybody. How are you? Give me 1 minute trying to turn on my Instagram. Alrighty. How's everyone doing? Hello, everybody. Okay, I'm having some problem with my Instagram. You guys give me just a second. Hold on a minute. All right, give me just a minute, y'all. Let me just get my Instagram going. Let me get my Instagram going. Okay, let me get my Instagram going, you guys. All right, got it going. Hey, you guys, how are you guys doing? Welcome tonight. Welcome this evening. Hello, Miss Chad, Carla, Path of the Healing Heart. Let's see, Carol, Bonnie, how are you doing? Magalay, how are you doing? Oh, thank you so much. Hey, Ann, Nita, Alicia. Good day, Mike. Hello, I am Hassan. How are you? Hello, Taxi. I don't know how to spell that. Gobel, Kay Smith, Charlie Thomas, Savvy Sibling, Photogenic Faces. How are you doing? Good evening, everyone. Hi, Vanessa. How are you doing? Hello, Charlie. How are you? How are you doing? Hi, Vanessa. How are you doing? Noel, Marcia, Tamara, Nat Kelly. Hey there. Coaching Spirits. How are you? Hi, C. Cassie. How are you doing? I think my bun is a little crooked, so y'all forgive me. How are you guys doing? Hey there. How are you guys doing this evening? Hello, hello, everybody. How is everyone doing? You guys ready for the topics tonight? Thank you, Miss Chad. I appreciate you. Hi, Jesus girl, Betty. God, erase my mark. Go ahead, girl. Is Andrea? Hi, Andrea from Arizona. Hi, Uniquely Made. How are you doing? Hey, Celdrick Walker. How are you doing, sir? Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you. Hi, Glenda. 2008. D. Phillips. How are you? From Georgia. Hi, Glenda from Georgia. Thank you so much, Anna. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let me get the salutations out the way. Wait for the moderators. I got most of my moderators on here. Is Miss Chat, Uniquely Made. I'm looking for Stevie Bananas. Where is Just Be Real? Should be on here somewhere. Let me start. I'm gonna start the good gracious, Clubhouse. Okay. Good evening to you. Good evening to you. Let me start my Clubhouse. Okay. Hey, Sandra, Love, Peace, and Shanti. And Shanti, how are you? Hey, Stacy, how are you? Jackson, Mississippi. All right. I remember when I took my cosmetology test. I had to go up to Jackson, Mississippi to take my cosmetology test back in the 90s. Hi, Alicia from Michigan. How are you? I got family in Michigan, in Detroit. How are you? Hey there, you guys. Okay, let me start the Clubhouse, okay? How is everyone doing? Greetings to you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. Hello, everyone. Greetings to you this evening. Hi, Miss Anita, Christine. Is that Dominique? Hi, Dominique. How are you guys doing this evening? Hello, thank you for joining me. So I'm just getting my salutation. Hey, Latoya. Hey, Miss Kelly. How are you doing? Oh, that's a pretty picture. Oh, Miss Kelly, look at you looking all cute and things. Go, girl. Hello, everybody. Good evening to everyone. So I'm just getting the greetings out the way. You guys know the routine. I'm just getting the greetings out the way, saying hello, hello, no mud, no lotus. How are you doing? Plano, Texas. How are you guys doing down there in Texas? Hope everything is well. I mean, given the circumstances, I see how bad it is down there. Hello from Georgia. How are you doing? Hi, Myron. How are you doing, sir? Hello, everyone. Greetings. Greetings to you. All right. Well, where's Just Be Real? Did she come on yet? And Stevie Bananas, where they at? Greetings, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me here in Clubhouse as well. You guys know the drill. I'm going to do my teaching. And after I do my teaching, I'm going to spend about 5-10 minutes just answering some questions over here on YouTube. I'm on Periscope right now. I'm going live on YouTube, Periscope, Instagram, Where else am I at? YouTube, Periscope, Instagram, and Facebook. I am there. So you guys know the drill over here on Clubhouse. So I'm gonna do some teaching. I'm gonna answer some questions over here, and then I'm gonna move over to Clubhouse. So those of you that are live with me, where you get to see me, make sure if you have Clubhouse, come on over to Clubhouse. Okay. Hello, Phoenix. How are you? So is Just Be Real here yet? Do you guys see Just Be Real, Stevie Bananas, or New Dawn Rises? Have you seen them yet? So I'm just waiting for my moderators to come in. So I appreciate you guys. So on my Clubhouse, the topic over there says, what is trauma bonding in the arsenal of the narcissist? And then I think over here is narcissist and trauma bonding. What is it? So it's kind of the same thing, just a kind of a, I guess the topic is kind of, you know, hey, Sharima. So the topic, so you guys let me know when you're ready. Hi, Riga, how are you? Long time no see. Hope all is well. Thank you so much for joining. Have you guys seen, I'm looking for New Dawn Arises, Stevie Bananas, and I'm looking for Just Be Real. Have you guys seen them? Are they on here anywhere? So I'm looking at 3 different screens. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I know. So I'm on Restream. So I have Restream and I also have Haps. And Restream and Haps will connect you to all the platforms at one time. And as you guys know, Periscope is going away. So, oh, I'm on Twitter as well. So I'm live on Twitter. So I'm live on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm on Clubhouse. Hi, Miss Lynette. How are you doing? Miss Lynette, I'm going to tell you that hairstyle, that picture is off the chain. You know, you sure got a pretty silver head. Gorgeous. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to start off again. So as many of you guys do or don't know me, some of you guys, hey, C. Cassidy, how are you doing? Thank you so much. So a lot of you, you may know me, may not know me. Some of you are new to my platform. Some of you guys are have watched my videos, kind of followed me for the last 2, almost 3 years. You're going to throw the clock at them? I know, right? They're late coming on. But so my name is Dr. Carmen Bryant. I am a licensed mental health counselor here in the great state of Northwest Washington State, not Washington, D.C. I'm in Washington State. I'm also a life coach. I am a retired military service member. I'm a retired senior non-commissioned officer. I have worked with trauma for a very long time. I started off in my military career. Hey, Miss Barbette, how are you? Welcome. Oh, go ahead, girl. Look at that pretty picture. Look at you, girl. Look at y'all. My tribe is cute. Y'all some cute folks. But so I've been doing trauma. I was doing trauma work non-clinically while I was in the military because I was a victims advocate. I was an equal opportunity representative. And so thank you so much, Uniquely Made. But so I am retired military. And so I take a lot of my training. I used to be senior leader and senior the trainer. And so I take a lot of that and I take that with my clinical experience. I take that with my clinical education, and I provide you guys with information concerning narcissist abuse. You hear it all the time. Sometimes you don't know whether that person really has narcissistic personality disorder or not, but I'd like to break it down so you guys, some of you can relate to what you guys have been going through, and I give it to you in bite sizes. I try not to be, you know, over professional or use big old giant terms where you don't understand what I'm talking about. And but I do try to break it down. You'll behave. Okay. So tonight I wanted to talk about trauma bonding. So a lot of you heard about trauma bonding, or you also heard about the let me find Stockholm Syndrome. So I wrote some notes down for myself so that I can stay on track, because you guys know I get excited. So I got my notes written right here, but I wrote some notes down. And so a lot of you wonder, what is trauma bonding? You hear about it all the time and people talk about trauma bonding, but from a clinical perspective, what exactly is trauma bonding? Now, obviously, you know that the person does not have to be or have to have narcissistic personality disorder to trauma bond you to them. This could be in childhood abuse. Hey, Dr. Bryant, how are you? But you could be dealing with childhood abuse. You could be dealing with domestic violence in general. You can deal with sex trafficking. You can deal with what else? Incest. And so every person not necessarily has narcissistic personality disorder. However, on my platform, you know, I focus on narcissistic personality disorder. So when I'm talking about trauma bonding, I'm talking about a narcissist and you being trauma bonded to a narcissist. So many times you wonder, why can't people get out of these relationships? Why was it so hard for me to get out the relationship? Or why am I still in it and I can't? Yeah, take notes. You guys take notes. But why is it so hard for me to break this bond with this individual? Because you are addicted. The trauma bond is basically what causes the addiction. I'm going to break it down to you to help you to understand. So those of you that work with survivors, those of you work with survivors, those of you have friends or family, and some of you yourself who are trauma bonded to that individual. No, it doesn't. No, trauma bonding doesn't make you feel like you found your soulmate. Let me break it down for you. Okay. So I wrote some notes down because I want you guys to understand. I'm gonna break it down to you so you guys understand. So trauma bonding is intense emotional ups and downs that are caused over an overexposure of mood altering hormones in the brain of the abused. It's an addiction. So listen to me. Trauma bonding is intense emotional ups and downs caused by an overexposure of mood altering hormones in the brain of the abused. We call it addiction. And this is a psychological response to abuse. So trauma bonding is a psychological response to abuse. It's an unhealthy bond with a person that abuses you. So the person that's abusing you, whether it was your parent, whether it was a brother, sister, aunt, uncle, or a loved one, or a best friend, Hey, I was just looking for you. She's there. I knew you were coming. But so you can be traumatically bonded to it. That's what it's called. It's traumatically bonded to anyone really that you have a relationship with. But it's an unhealthy bond with a person that abuses you. Okay. You also may know it as Stockholm Syndrome. You know, that's a form of trauma bonding, which is Stockholm Syndrome. And what happens is when you're with that individual, you will develop a sympathy for the person that's abusing you. So you will develop sympathy for the person that is abusing you. Many of you who have been in a relationship with a narcissist, you have developed sympathy for the person that was abusing you. You have sympathy for that person. So what happens in this phenomena of trauma bonding is reinforced by cycles of abuse, then remorse. So you get all this abuse, and then they give you remorse. I'm so sorry. And they give you what you're looking for. I'm going to talk about that in the addiction process later. Okay. You guys remind me. So it's being reinforced. You have these long cycles of abuse. And then when you think that you can't take it anymore and it's time to go and I just can't take it, then what they do is they come back and they're remorseful. They love bomb you. They take you back to where you met them in the very beginning, that representative, that love. I'm going to give you something that you're looking for. So you constantly keep chasing that high. What you're chasing is the affection. You're chasing the love. This is what you're chasing. That's an addiction. You're chasing that. And so they'll give you that to make you stay. And then it goes right back into the abusive. You're going right back into the abusive cycle. And so what happens is you begin to rationalize the actions of the abuser. A lot of you begin to rationalize the actions of the abuser. And what happens is they may tell. See, a narcissist is very hard. Let me back up a little bit so I don't get tongue tied. They're still conducting research about narcissistic personality disorder, and there's always something new that's evolving. There's every time something new evolves or something new presents itself, something else happens. Or so they're still studying narcissistic personality disorder. Many of you have been a part of this abuse. And so there are some things that that some people don't know or don't realize. And when you try to tell them this, it's hard to explain something, or it's hard to explain this abuse because it sounds so unrealistic. But what ends up happening is you have to remember that a person that has narcissistic personality disorder is not 100% truthful. So a lot of times you cannot. I'm going to take these earrings off, okay, because I can hear it banging against the earphones on my telephone. So I apologize. Give me 1 second. I hear the earrings Sorry, Clubhouse. The earrings were banging against the earphones, so I apologize. But a lot of you begin to make excuses. A narcissist will never tell you 100% the truth. They'll give you pieces and parts of their life, but they'll never give you 100% of what has happened in their life. A lot of you, you know, you may look at a golden child and say, but they were the golden child. They were the child that was idealized, but you don't understand the what the golden child may have to go through, having to live their life in the shadows of this narcissist, and the narcissist living vicariously through them. And then a lot of golden children, or the golden child, also was sexually abused because they put them on the same level as themselves. And so a lot of golden children, golden children or chillins, were sexually molested by the parent, because the parent either saw them as an extension of themselves or equal to them, or took the place of the other parent. So a lot of these golden children were also sexually abused. But what happens is that a lot of them will tell you the story, but they won't tell you the whole story. So in order to pull you in to play on your emotions, what they'll do is tell you the things that happened to them without actually telling you 100% of everything that's been, or what they've gone through. Because you are sympathetic and you are empathetic, you begin to feel sorry for them. So they get you to a position where you literally begin to fight on their behalf. You begin to rationalize the reason why they are the way that they are is because of what they went through. So you're making excuses for, Gurkham, when I'm doing teaching, I would like for you guys to focus on the teaching that I'm doing. You guys are having a whole conversation, and it becomes kind of distracting when I look over at the screen. Moderators, you hook them up for me. I'm giving you free reign. I know just the real to hook them up. So I apologize. I don't like to be distracted because I'm trying to give you guys something. And some of you guys are going, you have no idea. Some people are in the midst of wanting to commit suicide. Some of these narcissists have molested sexually. If you knew some of the cases that I get where the narcissist is sexually active with a child. Now, this is trigger alert. Some of these narcissists are molesting children. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. Some of these adults have been molested by their parents, have been molested growing up, and they're coming out of trauma. And so the one thing that I want you guys to know when I come on here and teach, my whole thing is to make sure, thank you so much. My whole thing is to make sure that I give you information so you can understand. If I can see, they've taken a long time to drain you, and a long time to, what's the word I'm looking for, train you into the way you think. So for a therapist or for a life coach to come in, it takes a long time to peel that onion. Some of you guys are that onion, and it takes a while to peel that onion. Some of you guys, you're hurting real bad, but you're missing the point. You got to listen, because you're going to miss the point. Some of your healing is right in what I'm talking about. Some of you guys are right here where I'm at. And so it takes a minute to give you this information, but some of you guys, you'd be surprised at how much freedom you get when you come off camera, because I promise you, you're probably going to hear or see this again. And if you miss it while you're having a conversation, you're going to have to go back and watch the video again. And so that's, and thank you so much, Nat Kelly. Remember, you know, the teacher will teach you, but there's going to come a time where the teacher is silent, and then you're going to have to test. And when the test comes, you got to remember what you learned, what the teacher taught you. All right, so let's go back. But what happens is that these narcissists will tell you pieces and parts of their life. They'll never tell you everything, but they'll tell you pieces and parts of their life. They'll give you enough information because they play. Remember, they play. They're predators of your emotions. And so what they'll do is they'll play on your emotions enough to get your sympathy and your empathy to lock you back down. And so what happens is you start rationalizing their behavior. You know, the reason why he's like this, or the reason why she is like this, is because his parents or her parents neglected them, raped, molested, whatever they abused. And how can I've had somebody tell me, you know what? You know, I understand what I'm going through, but I'm willing, you know, till death do us part, and through better or worse, you know, through sickness and health. And just because this person is like this, how can I leave? But you know what? If you stay there, you're going to see why you should have left in the first place. So that is an excuse. That's an excuse as to not to leave. If you have the opportunity to leave, that's an excuse not to leave. Why would I leave? Because you don't leave someone when they're hurting. Either you're going to get hurt or you let them hurt, because they're going to hurt forever. And no matter whether you stay with them or not, they're going to hurt other people. So a lot of times, you know, you're going to have to face the truth. The truth is you're making excuses for the person. A lot of times you're making excuses as why not to leave. And some of it is hard, because sometimes I have to cut therapy off and say, you know what, there's nothing I can do to help you at this particular time. So now the next thing is you develop a very unhealthy attachment to the abuser. So you develop an addiction to the abuser during this trauma bonding. You even become dependent on them. You become dependent on them. You depend on them emotionally, and you associate love with abuse. A lot of you come from abusive backgrounds. Some of you come from abusive families. And so from childhood on, a child learns to connect with that caregiver, to the love. They depend on the caregiver to provide them with comfort, with love, and so you have come up from a domestic violence or a toxic or abusive environment. And so as a child, the child associates love with pain, or they associate, what did I just say? I just said they associate love with abuse. And so this is all you know. So when you get into a relationship with someone, they're recreating your environment. It's not something that you may want or desire, but that's your comfort zone because that's all you know. And so you associate, if the person doesn't, some people have said it, if the person doesn't hit me, I feel like they don't love me, because that's all you know. If the person doesn't hurt you, you automatically assume that they don't care about you. And so you associate this abuse with love. And that's, some of you guys are in the relationship with a narcissist, and they may not physically put their hands on you, but they may psychologically abuse you. So they're psychologically abusing you, and you excuse it as, at least they don't put their hands on me. At least they don't abuse me. They used to put their hands on me, but I saw the change, and they changed, and they no longer put their hands on me. No, the narcissist evolved and realized putting them hands on you wasn't working when it came to control. What is working better with you is the psychological abuse, what they do to your head and your emotions. And they noticed that that's more effective than putting their hands on you, because you may have been a fighter. So they changed. They didn't change, meaning that they changed their approach. For you, it might be psychological abuse. For the next person, it might be laying of the hands, laying the paws on you. You see what I mean? So now you can't rationalize, and you blame yourself for the abuse. So they get you in a position where you begin to question, because remember, they're messing with your emotions. They're manipulating your emotions. And so the first thing that most people assume coming out of this relationship or going to a therapist, you keep thinking, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't I good enough? What does she have? The new supply. What does he have that I don't have? She's prettier. He's more handsome than me. What did I not do? It seems like he's happy with her. She seems like she's happier with him. What did I do? You keep looking at yourself. What you did was you grew up. What you did was you realized that this is not how you want to live. What you realize is something is wrong. And so when you started thinking for yourself, you become bad supply to them, because you're not that easy to manipulate anymore. So they chose someone else that's kind of ignorant, that really is ignorant to them. They don't know anything about them, and everything they do, they just look at them like a god. Oh my gosh, this is the best person. I can't believe that she would act this way. I can't believe you would act this way. He's the best thing since sliced bread. She is the most beautiful. Oh my God. See, because they don't know any better. You did. You started to wake up. And so they couldn't do much with you anymore. You're not pliable like you used to be. So you're going to give some problems. You might, yeah, they change your taxes, but you're going to cause some problems. So I need to look for someone else, because if you start causing problems, start asking questions, what I've been doing is not working anymore. So I need to move to another supply that is easier and more pliable. So let's see. So they'll make pointless promises, just endless promises. And they know that hope is the last thing to go. And so because hope is the last thing to die, they know that they can love bomb you, idealize you, and then pull you back in. And it works every time. Every time something happens and you decide that you're going to go, what they'll do is they'll give you a little something to pull you back in. Most of the time it's abusive, but when they see like you're about to give up and I'm about to throw my hands up, what they do is they go back and make you feel like that 100% woman, that 1000% man. They love bomb you in the relationship. And remember, the cycle, a narcissistic abusive cycle of a relationship that's forever until you break it, is the idealization stage, devaluation stage, discard, hit, repeat, rinse cycle, hit, repeat, idealization, devaluation, discard. in that devaluation and discard, that's where you see that trauma bonding in between there. That trauma bonding is in between there. Now, this relationship, you'll find it in domestic violence, incest, human trafficking, and we can go on, child sexual abuse, child abuse. This is what these dysfunctional people do. And that's how these children become trauma bonded to their own parents. They don't know any better. They're not at the level of understanding that we are. And so another thing that they do in in the trauma bonding is they isolate you from people that have opinions or have a different perspective or point of view. So they will isolate you from people that would give you information to show you that this is traumatic or this is toxic or this is dangerous. And so they'll tell you little things like, Carmen is I'm trying to think of something. Carmen is lying to you. She don't know what she talks. She wants me. That's why she's telling you all this stuff, because really she wants me. They'll tell you whatever lie, whatever they can tell you to isolate you. And you're so stuck on, I got to make sure that I don't lose this person, and whatever this person says, I'm going to believe it. That's why you end up losing a lot of your friends. A lot of you came out of these relationships and a lot of you have lost your friends. A lot of people stop being your friend. Number one, is a traumatic relationship, and people don't want to be pulled into everybody's drama. Right. So sometimes your best friend is like, I just don't want to be a part of that drama. They got kids. I got to stay safe. If you're not going to be safe, I got to stay safe. You see, and some of them cut their ties with you, but that's what the narcissist wanted. He or she wanted you to cut your ties, because these are people that have an influence on your life. These are people that are a voice of reason. These are people that can get you resources, and they know it. So they strategically find a way to get you to cut ties with these individuals, to include telling lies, to include saying, I slept with her, or I slept with him. Whatever they have to say, they're going to tell you to isolate you from people so that they're the only voice in your ear. And so let's see. Let me flip the page, go to the next topic. You'll make excuses. So some of the things you'll know. So these are some of the things where you can tell that I might be traumatically bonded to this individual. Let's see. You excuse their abuse. You excuse their abuse. You make excuses like, I can't get away. Now, some of you do have legitimate excuses. You do. Because some of them have isolated you to a point where you don't even have any finances or resources to get away. So I understand that, that there are resources out there. And if you really, really, really want to get away, a lot of resources that are out there, such as the domestic violence hotline. You have international domestic violence hotline. There you go. Miss Chat just put them there. It's the National Violence Hotline. Depending on who you talk to, there are ways out, but you have to make up your mind that you want to go. If you don't ever make up your mind that you want to go, you won't go. You won't. And some of you, I'll never be able to go. If you keep telling yourself that, your brain is very powerful. It's like a computer. And whatever you keep putting into your brain is exactly what your brain is going to do. I can't get out of it anyway. I can't get out of it, so why try? It's that learned helplessness. You guys go check out what the term learned helplessness is. Learned helplessness is when it was a scientist that took these dogs and put them in these cages. And what he did is that he had the shock thing up underneath the cage. And he put them in these cages and he would shock the dogs. And so when he shocked the dogs fought to get out of the cage and couldn't get out of the cage. Eventually, it got to the point where the dogs realized, I can't get out of the cage. So they stopped fighting. They stopped trying to get out of the cage. And they stood there and they got shocked. So when he opened up the cages, and he shocked these dogs, the dogs didn't even try to run, and they had the freedom to run. They could have ran, and they didn't run. They just stood there and they were shocked because they learned to be helpless. Like the elephant that has the big chain around his ankle. This is a huge animal that can tear the stake out of the ground. But ever since the elephant was a baby, they put a chain on the elephant's leg, and his thought is I can't escape. And yet he's stronger than the chain. Even when he gets big, he's stronger than the chain. But he had learned to be helpless. And a lot of you have learned to be helpless because you assume that there's no way out. There is a way out. There are people who have gotten out. Now, for some of you, that may be the discomfort of not having all the luxuries that you had at one time, the discomfort of having to get a job for the first time, the discomfort of coming out of your socioeconomic class and starting all over again from ground zero, going into an apartment with no furniture in there. But you'd be surprised at the people that will come together to help you. And so you have to remember that there is help out there for you. So now you'll make excuses for them. You'll cover them. So no matter who says something about that, you'll cover them. You won't let people talk about them. You won't even let people try to intervene and try to help you out of the situation. You'll fight the help. You will fight the help before you let anybody intervene. And then you get mad at the people trying to intervene on your behalf. That's how they trained you to be. You won't leave, and you won't leave to break the bond. Now, true enough, like I said, some of you guys are in some very particular type of situations that require a little more assistance to get you out. But where there's a will, there's a way. The spirit of a person is strong. If you want to escape trauma, if you want to escape, you can escape. Don't think that there's no help out there for you. You can escape. It just depends on who you connect with. There are a lot of people that I have helped get out of their situations. But for some people, like a lot of you that may have children and you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you got to remember, you can't just jump up and go with those kids, because in the court of law, they have rights to those children too. And they can always say you kidnapped them. And when they get into a court situation, I'm going to tell you now, that is their biggest playground. They'll smear your name and they'll make you look like you are crazy and you have mental health issues. And so you need to connect with a good life coach. You need to connect with a good victims advocate or a counselor that understands trauma, and they will assist you in getting out of your situation and making a safety plan to get out. So let's go to the next one. A lot of people that are in these relationships with the narcissist have become codependent. They're codependent. And one of the biggest things for a person that is codependent is the need for love, affirmation, attention, approval. And what the narc does, he uses this to strengthen his or her grip in the relationship. What they do is they'll abuse you so much. Now think about this, even like an addiction. They'll abuse you so much, and then they'll give you a little bit of attention. So it's called positive or negative reinforcement. So if you get out of their grip and they are losing control of you, they will abuse you. But then once they can pull you back in, what they do is to pull you back in, they'll give you some attention. They'll give you some hopeful words. They'll make you feel good about yourself. They'll love you just right. They'll tell you how beautiful you are. All those things that you desire so bad, they give you affirmation. They'll give you attention and approval. And once they lock you in, they start abusing you again till you get tired. So it keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But this is the problem with the codependent. The codependent is just in need. They're in constant need. And you have to get with a good counselor that can help you break that codependency. Because now you are codependent, you are dependent on this narcissist. So I talked about the positive, negative. So there's a cycle of love, hate, reinforcement, and codependency. So when you're in the relationship with this narcissist, there's this love, hate, reinforcement in this codependency to keep you in there. The long abuse and then the doses of good. Long abuse and doses of good. That's an addiction. So you got these long terms of abuse, and then you just need something to feel good. So they give you that affirmation. They give you that, and that's that positive and negative reinforcement. They positively reinforce. Once they get control of you, they'll pat you on your head. They'll give you what you need in order to lock you back in. The negative reinforcement is, I'll take that away from you. So I'm going to take it away from you to make you run after it. You keep running after this, running after this, running after this until you get tired. Then they got to give you a little bit. Let me give you a little bit of this drug. Let me give you a little bit to get you back in. Let me get you back in control. So now to understand, let's talk about the addiction that's occurring in here. So most of you guys like, well, how can you be addicted to a person? Well, you have to understand chemical dependency. Those of you that are chemical dependency counselors or understand chemical dependency or have even been in inpatient or outpatient treatment for some type of chemical dependency, drugs, alcohol, whatever that drug of choice was, in order to help people with this addiction to this person, you have to understand how the chemical dependency works in the brain. And so the chemicals that are activated in the brain when you're dealing with this narcissist or person is oxytocin, which is the love hormone. Oxytocin is the hormone that's released for some of you ladies who have had children. Whenever that baby is put into your arms, you get this overwhelming feeling, this overwhelming feeling. Or when you start breastfeeding, that oxytocin is released to create a bond between you and that baby. That is these overwhelming emotions that every time you hold the baby, it's just a flood of emotions that you get holding that baby. Well, when you are with this narcissist, that oxytocin, that flood, whenever you're with them, that flood of emotions, that flood of bonding with that individual, even though it's an unhealthy bond, it's that flood of emotions that is activated in order for you to bond with this person. But it's a traumatic bond, but it's a bond. Another thing is the serotonin and the dopamine. So the dopamine, let me show you how trauma bonding and trauma in a relationship can affect your whole body. So some of you guys have been talking about, I have a brain fog. I have physiological problems. I have problems with my bones, my muscles. I can't sleep at night. I have insomnia. I have depression. I have anxiety. I have the adrenaline fatigue. You know, I can't think. I can't even stand up. I have food problem. I have IBS. I have GERD. You know, I have acid reflux. You know, my muscles hurt all the time. This is why. So these are the chemicals that are being released, but they're going overboard. So when you're dealing with trauma on a constant basis, some of you are dealing with PTSD. So your adrenaline, the adrenaline is one of them. It's oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, cortisol, and adrenaline. That fight, flight, or freeze is constantly going. That trauma bonding is causing that, I call it a valve, that fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze, when that adrenaline starts pumping, is letting your body know we got to do something to survive. So when that adrenaline is pumping, you know, you got women that'll lift a car up to get their kids from under the car. You got men that will hold on to children and pull them back up. So that adrenaline, or you run faster than, you know, in war, that fight, flight, or freeze, because you're trying to survive. But what happens is when you're in a trauma bonding relationship with this narcissist, you are constantly in fight, flight, or freeze, fight, flight, or freeze, fight, flight. That valve is broken. So you're constantly, they keep you in this fight, flight, or freeze. What happens is when you have all that adrenaline pumping into your system, it begins to affect your major organs. And it's taking, what it's doing is taking the adrenaline, is taking those chemicals away from your major organs and is pumping it into your muscles, because you're supposed to be doing something. You're constantly fight, flight, freeze, fight, flight, freeze. So it's pumping all this adrenaline into your muscles so that you can run faster, so you can hide, so you can pick up stuff. But eventually it begins to burn out. And you begin to have problems with major organs, your heart, your muscles, your stomach issues, you know. So that's adrenaline. That's one. Cortisol is the stress hormone. This is where you see women got the big fat bellies, you know, your stomach big. You don't even know why your stomach bloated, but your stomach just swole. So, and it affects your blood pressure. So what happens is when that cortisol is constantly pumping, when you are in a traumatic or trauma bonding situation, that cortisol is supposed to level itself back out when the stress is over. That you're constantly in a stressful situation with these narcissists. So the cortisol is just pumping, 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 pumping. And what happens is because it has never regulated itself, your blood pressure is affected, your glucose is affected, which causes your fight, flight, or freeze to be affected. You have inflammation in your body, so your body cannot regulate the inflammation in your body. Your muscle tension, you know, some of you guys got the muscle tension in your neck, sometimes all in the back, on your back. You have pinched nerves in your back, digestive problems, reproductive problems, immune issues. Some of you got autoimmune issues all of a sudden. Your salt is unbalanced. Your doctor's telling you your salt levels are too high. Weight problems. Some of you guys are overweight. Some of you guys are underweight. You got heart problems. So you got heart problems. Anxiety, irritable bowel syndrome, insomnia, depression. Let's see, what else? So the cortisol is too high, so it causes other diseases. Now, the other thing also is the serotonin and dopamine. Dopamine, which is exposure to pleasures that feel good. If the dopamine is affected in your system, which it is, you have problems with motivation. This is your reward system. So you got problems with motivation, you have problems with concentration, and you have problems with your mood. It's like your mood is never regulated. You have a brain fog. You can't even concentrate. You can't even make good decisions, or you're confused as to whether you're making good decisions or not, because the narcissist is gonna make you feel stupid, like you can't make good decisions. And your serotonin. Serotonin is exposure to pain, so it regulates. So this is where you get your well-being and your happiness. For those people that deal with depressions, you'll notice that they give out medications called SSRIs or SSNRIs. This is serotonin uptake. So this balances and gives you the feeling of well-being or feeling of emotional balance. But if this is off, which most of the time it is, your emotions, your appetite, your digestion is affected. Melatonin. So the melatonin is affected when it gets dark. Your brain is telling your body it's time for you to calm down and relax and go to sleep. Melatonin is off. So you guys are having insomnia and sleep problems. So it also helps with your sleep and wake cycle. Some of you guys are not even getting REM sleep. REM sleep, when you go into the 3 phases of sleep, when you get into REM sleep, your REM sleep is when you start dreaming. Some of you guys haven't had dreams in years. Some of you guys haven't dreamt in years because of the fact that you're never getting to REM sleep. But if you never get to REM sleep, your body is never rejuvenated. Your body is never refreshed because you're constantly fight, flight, or freeze. Your serotonin is off. You also have problems with cardio health. So serotonin also, if that's affected, you have problems with cardio, your heart, cardio health. Eye problems. You have problems with your eyes, blood clotting, neurological disorders, but it also helps with depression. And so I just wanted to come on here this evening. I wanted you guys to see just how dangerous, being in a relationship with a narcissist, getting involved with a narcissist, and that trauma bonding, how you are affected in the trauma bonding and trauma with this individual. Everything about you. So a lot of you, like, I have autoimmune issues. I have fibromyalgia. I can't sleep. I have a brain fog. I can't think straight. I have no motivations. I can't even get up. I'm not even refreshed. I have sleep apnea. I have GERD. I have GERD so bad it's eating up the lining. I have hemorrhoids. I have not as when you got ulcers. I've got ulcers in my stomach. I'm constantly nervous. I have panic attacks. I have nightmares. Your brain is telling you have to do something, but you being involved with this narcissist is affecting every aspect of your body, your soul, your brain, your spirit. You guys are having physiological issues. But for so many people, you are trauma bonded into, you're addicted to this individual. So you have to get to someone that understands, overeating, undereating. You have to get to someone that understands trauma. And you may want to get to someone that understands chemical dependencies, because you being addicted to this narcissist is a chemical dependency. Your brain is releasing chemicals and you are addicted to this individual. So hopefully that answered that question. Clubhouse, if you guys give me about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm just going to answer some questions over here on the other platforms, and then I'm going to shift over to Clubhouse. I'm not going to be on here long tonight because I have to help. I got to do mommy duties. I have to help my daughter with some homework. And so if you guys over here on this platform, give me 5 minutes. And if you guys give me 5 minutes to answer some questions, then I'm going to come over to Clubhouse and talk to Clubhouse for a few minutes, for a little while. And then I'm gonna end the evening. So you guys give me some questions. Give me some questions about what I just talked about. You guys talk to me. Give me some questions. You are so welcome, Linda. Thank you so much. Ms. Janet said, yes, you have to save yourself and find a way to get control of your own precious life. Absolutely. And you guys got to remember, you got children that are watching you as well. Some people are so stuck on trying to get back into a relationship that you definitely have forgotten your children. You have forgotten your children. And the thing about it is I honestly believe, I don't care what anybody says. I understand that the research is still going on. They're still trying to figure this thing out. But I believe that when you start seeing signs in your children at a very, very young age, if you intercept that, if you pay attention to that, you can stop the development of narcissistic personality disorder. I honestly believe that. I know that. I've witnessed that. So if you can interject before that personality starts to develop and form and starts to gravitate and emerge, merge into that personality, think you can stop it from being developed. And some of you are coming from these relationship with children, and you guys are in such I'm not saying all of you guys, if it applies, it applies. But some people are in such a hurry to get back into a relationship with someone, you're forgetting your children. They're watching you. They've watched you being traumatized. They've watched you. And some of these children have been so traumatized that you don't realize they've been traumatized. You have no idea that they've been traumatized. You see what I mean? And some people are just so about themselves and feeling good. And I don't want to feel like this. You don't forgot about your kids. You have forgotten about your kids. If you want your children to go through what you went through, or if you want your children to develop this disorder, keep on paying attention to yourself. Yes, you have to heal and be the best parent that you can be, but you got kids that are watching you. Some of you guys have kids that are watching you. You need to focus on those kids. You don't want your children to become a predator. And some of you guys are so focused on yourself, you don't realize your children have become the prey to whatever you are pursuing. All right. So many of these parents do not care. It's not really that they don't care, that they're so addicted to this narcissist. They're so the emotions have taken over. They're so emotionally affected by this individual that they pursue this person with everything that they got, leaving the kids. They take care of the kids, but half-heartedly, because they're so focused on their own needs. How do you stay healthy if you can't move out yet financially during a pandemic? We are stuck. Both my parents have NPD traits. Well, Crystal, this is one of those situations where you're going to have to contact a domestic violent advocate, or you're going to have to call that 1-800 number. And what you're going to have to let them know is that you are being abused. You don't have to get, some of you guys talk too much. Some of you guys just have to say, I am at home. I am being abused by these individuals. I feel suicidal. I feel depressed. I feel whatever it is that you're feeling. I need help, and I need someone to get me out of this situation. But some of you guys downplay it. Well, it's not as bad. It's not that bad. You need to tell it like it is. You need to tell it like it is. And you have people that will be able to help you maneuver out of this situation. Is she going to come back? It's been, okay, I don't know who you're talking to. All right. Brainwashed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. How long does it take to heal when you're out of trauma bonding to your abuser? Heal me depends on how long you've been in a relationship. Number one, everybody usually wants to know, how long is it going to take for me to heal? Well, there's a lot of factors that play into that question. Number one, what type of childhood did you have? Number two, what was your parent? What was your foundation like? What kind of trauma or abuse did you go through growing up in your own home? And then what type of relationships were you in? Because this right here is just the cherry on top of the cake. So a lot of times this is not even the root to the problem. This right here is just a symptom to a bigger issue, which a lot of you guys come from families like that. So I can't give you a time and date, because especially the longer you've been exposed to it, the longer it's going to take you to heal, and you can't rush it. There's a process. You go through that process. Now, those of you that don't want to be whole, go ahead and rush the process. You will get another narcissist. I promise you that. So you don't rush the process. There is a number I can give you. Let's see. Who can become trauma bonded? Anybody. I'm still healing. Okay. Okay. When there's long questions, know that the questions are going to go really fast. There it goes. Hold on. Let me see this right here. Give me just a minute. Let me scroll. Hold on a minute. Give me just a second. Leaves Inc. said, Dr. C, I believe in the power of prayer, natural foods, and self-development without prescription drugs. And I'm wondering your thoughts on this. Thank you. Your trauma bonds not extending to hurt kids. You do whatever you got to do to heal from the trauma bonding. Everybody doesn't believe in medication, and that's not a problem at all. A lot of clients that I have that do not want, and I understand that. I have seen the benefits of the medication, but whatever it takes for you to heal, you do whatever you have to do to heal. Whatever it is that you want to do or need to do to heal. I do believe, I am a believer, and I do confess my faith all the time. I am a Christian, I am a believer, and I do believe in the power of prayer. For me, that is non-negotiable. So for me, I believe in the power of prayer. I would not have myself, and I can't speak for everyone because I know everybody has their own belief system. But for me, I would not have made it out and survived to tell you about it, because some of the things that I went through is just undescribable. I would never tell you guys what all I've been through, because some of the stuff that I went through, that's trigger alert. But number two, some of the stuff that I've been through is probably not probably illegal. Some of the stuff that I've been through. And so I believe in prayer. And so for me, had it not been for prayer, I would have lost my mind. I know I would have lost my mind. I know I would have been sucking my thumb in somebody's inpatient on the fifth floor. You see me holding up 4 fingers. I would have been on the 5th floor. So I do believe in the power of prayer. And on top of that, other things that go along with that: counseling, mentorship. There's other things that you need to do to integrate, that. And God will bring you, for those of you that are believers, God will bring you destiny helpers, will bring you counselors that do understand, that are believers as well. If that's your belief system, you want a believer. He'll bring mentors bring counselors, he'll put the right people in your path in order to teach you. So I believe whatever it takes for you to heal, that's what you do to heal. Let's see. Yeah, Taravia said, I know she's telling the truth to the stuff I've been through was illegal. Yep. Can you begin to break the trauma bond when still living together? Very hard to do. Now, Tessa, you ain't gonna be able to break that bond. You bonded to him and you're in the house with him. So that's kind of, I don't mean it in a way to insult you, but that's kind of oxymoron. That it doesn't work that way. How do we intervene with a 4 or 5-year-old who is showing strong narcissistic signs of our abuser a year after we got free? Counseling. You got to take them to counseling. Will the narc's next relationship end the same way? I don't know how it's going to end, but I know it's not going to be any better than the relationship you were in with them, because they don't change. So it's not a concern of how it's going to end. They're going to do the exact same thing. So it's no different. It's just the same. It's just the same. It's the same person using different tactics, but their MO never changed. They do the exact same thing. It's just a different person. You might be dealing with a crackhead. Next thing you might be dealing with an R&B artist. Next thing you're dealing with a model. You might be dealing with a judge. You might be dealing with a counselor. Even so, they have to. They are chameleons. They blend in with whatever they need to blend in with. You're not like me, so of course your narcissist wouldn't handle me the same way that they handle you. Totally different. You see, number one, I ain't gonna be handled by no narcissist anyway. So that's how we have to look at that. But after 35 years, am I wrong to feel like I wasted my time? I think all of us felt that way. I think all of us felt that way coming out of a relationship. It's like, I've wasted all these years in a relationship, but you can't beat yourself up because you didn't know. You did what you were supposed to do, and you had a heart to love somebody, and you did the best that you can do. And yeah, all of us have come out of the relationship thinking to ourselves, dang, I've wasted all these years. I wasted my youth. I wasted my beauty. I wasted this, my energy, all into something that was a bottomless pit. I think all of us have felt that way. Yeah. We have been there. Yeah. Yep. She said, I'm seeking therapy now from EAP. It's helping, but I know whenever divorce court comes, my anxiety would be through the roof. My husband already making people look at me like I'm crazy. Yep. That's what they do. That's what they do. All right, y'all. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to move over here to a Clubhouse, you guys. And thank you guys so much. Charlie said, the church teaches your husband is first, then the kids. In case his husband is a narc, and you got to be wise. Miss Charlie, you got to be wise. And just like my mentor, who is actually my mother and my pastor, she just said it on Clubhouse last week. She's a pastor, and she's not going to tell somebody to stay in an abusive situation. She's known for people to be murdered in those situations. So you can't be super religious. You got to protect yourself. People are telling you to stay into something, and they use the Bible to justify what they're saying. I believe in the Bible. Yes, I do. But I do know that my God loves me, and he does not ever want me to stay in a dangerous situation where my children or myself, I'm going to go crazy. So you tell me I'm supposed to stay. You're abusing my children, and you're doing God knows what to my kids, and you're telling me to stay. Okay, I need to question that, because that don't even sound right. It don't even set right with my spirit. That's what you have to look at. So yes, some people will give you that type of advice, but you got to save yourself, and you got to save your children. You are your children's rescuer. You got to protect them. You got to protect you. You have one life. And some of these narcissists are so malignant, they don't have a problem with killing you. And if you know anything about domestic violence, usually they don't try to kill you until after you try to leave. Not while you're there. When you try to leave is when they try to kill you. And some of these are malignant narcissists. So you guys have to be careful. You are so welcome, Natalie. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to switch over to Clubhouse. I thank you guys so much for supporting me. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it. Share these videos. Share these videos. You never know who watches these videos, because even like some of you, you never, ever knew what you were going through until you heard someone talk about it. Some of you guys were just doing a little search, and videos started popping up, and it began to answer your questions. Some of you guys are trying to help friends and family members. You don't know what to say. Share the video on your timeline. You never know who's watching the videos. And sometimes people are watching videos you don't even know was on your Facebook page. They could have just seen it in a public post. Oh, let me see what they're talking about. And you have helped somebody. You have helped somebody escape. I tell this story all the time. I've had 3 people. When I first started off, I had maybe like 40 or 60 followers. And I remember it was twice, 2 or 3 times, maybe 2 or 3 times, where somebody said, lady, I don't even know who you are, but I had just tried to hang myself and I cut my wrist and I was sitting here and all of a sudden your video popped up. I don't know who you are, but you were having a whole conversation with me. I had another person, I think, had just taken some pills or had tried to taken some pills and stabbed himself in the stomach. And they're like, I don't know who you are. And I've never subscribed to your channel. But your video popped up and you were having a whole conversation with me. You were talking about my situation, my exact situation. There was 3 people that had tried to commit suicide. I had one person, I don't know where they're at. I have not heard from them again, that they were in the New York area, were being held hostage by the narcissist. They reached out and asked for help, but I couldn't do anything because I didn't have enough information to help. You see what I mean? And so you never know who you're going to help. You don't know. You go to sleep and they're watching this video and they're in desperate need and they're in a home with a narcissist. And these videos will start encouraging them, start building them up, start giving them strength so they can finally escape from that situation. And so I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to switch over to Clubhouse so I can talk to my guests over on Clubhouse. If you have Clubhouse, come on over there. Thank you so much for supporting me. Make sure you subscribe. I'm Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. I have a book. You guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Coach Natisha. I appreciate you. Oh, that's my little niece. Thank you so much. Lemon character bowing his head while spreading hearts with his arms. Oh, thank you so much. But those of you, I have a book. It's called Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection. It talks about your situation. Thank you, Miss Chat. Thank you so much. Pure character looking at herself in the mirror saying, thanks for being you, with hearts popping out of his eye. Oh, thank you. But let me tell you, always describing the little character you're putting in there is not showing up. That's funny. But Unmasking the Illusion of Perfection is the book that I wrote. This book right here of real people. They are real people. These are real women that have been through this trauma. And each one of them tells you their story or what they were thinking, how they were groomed, what the narcissist did, and how the narcissist even groomed their children and was after these kids not knowing. Thank you, Phoenix. I appreciate it. But they grooming the children, you know, what they were trying to do. I don't recall whether one of them actually had a sexual encounter with one of the children, but they were talking about how they were groomed in childhood, what they were thinking, what they were taught, what they were said. You know, some of them had codependency issues. Go get the book, because I promise you, you'll find your story in there. True enough, it is written from a Christian, giving you Christian support. I put scriptures in there. I do talk about it from a Christian perspective. Take the print. Those of you that are not Christian, take the principle out of it. You'll find yourself. Thank you so much, Julie. Back to you. And also those of you who are looking for counseling, I'm in the state of Washington. My book is full all the time. So if you're asking for coaching, I can provide coaching on the outside of the state of Washington and counseling in the state of Washington. And so if you email me at drcarmenbryant@outlook.com, you are welcome to inquire about rates, because I'm still offering discounted rates at this time. I am also currently, I have a web designer that is working on my web page. And as soon as they get my web page up and going, I can start posting classes. I have courses that I am developing for you guys. Some courses that are going to deal with your trauma, some courses that are going to deal with your emotions. I'm also going to have a subscription page. It'll be a free page and a subscription page. In the subscription page, you will see I'm going to start doing interviews with other professionals in the field. I'm going to start doing other videos that will not be seen on YouTube unless you are subscribed to my my webpage. And these are going to be more in detail type of videos for you guys. Thank you so much once again. If you are looking for counseling, you can go to betterhelp.com/Dr. Carmen. And you will get a 10% discount. And on top of that, if you have financial issues, let them know. They will help you, and they probably will offer you a grant. But I have heard great things. It is a vetted resource. Excellent counselors. What I've heard from many people, and I do make commission off of it. But at the same time, they're actually asking us to come and do counseling on BetterHelp.com. But my books are always full. So if you will want an appointment with me, you have to. If you make the appointment, you got to make sure that you lock in your slot, because I am constantly full. I am so booked right now. And so thank you guys so much, though, for supporting me. Make sure you go check out my mother's YouTube channel. It is Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper. If you don't know about my big sister, she is on HAPS, and she is on, I think she's on Facebook. but it is Pastor Kathy Gibson. My Life is Intentional. She has a book called The Essence of the Aristocratic Woman. And she also has a book that's called Destiny Man, The Qualities to Look For. Very powerful, especially for those women, those of us that are in the process of healing. You guys have to go get those books. I'm telling you, I am dedicating myself. Gentlemen, I love you. I do. I love you guys with my heart. I love you guys. You know, my niche is women. I'm a woman, so I can understand how women think. And, you know, as nurturers, you know, my niche is to women. I talk in general a lot of times, but when you come, a lot of my niche is guided toward women and empowering women. So I like to empower women. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'm switching over to Clubhouse. I love you guys. You guys have a wonderful evening. I will talk to you guys this week. Okay. Thank you guys so much. All right, Instagram.